Hello, we are the Supernov-Amigas. I am Isabel.
And I'm Myra. Hello.
And
Welcome.
we are here to talk about your favorite Disney Channel original movies. We are beginning with You Lucky Dog, as you can see. We're not necessarily going to go in order. We're going to skip Under Wraps and save that for a special time. Keep an eye out for that, but for now, we're going to just dive or dig into You Lucky Dog.
You Lucky Dog, a movie that I personally had never heard of prior to last week, but I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. It was ridiculous. We'll get into all that good stuff later. A little bit of background. Well, actually, I don't know. Do you think we should explain, since this is the first official episode, like where this name came from and like
Yeah.
what?
We can go into this. We are the Supernova-Amigas because we love the song Supernova Girls. Because we're both Latina girls, let's dive into our heritage a bit and lean into the Amigas because who doesn't like a little pun?
Okay, actually, I had some questions written down, and I was like, maybe I'll ask this in the first official episode.
Ooh.
Your Disney profile. So 3 questions. So first one, which DCOM you're most excited to revisit? Which DCOM you are excited to watch but you've never seen? And then if you could live in a DCOM, which one would you live in and why?
Ooh, these are good questions. I am most excited to revisit, what's the one with Shia LaBeouf and he has a learning disability?
True Confessions?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
want to see how that movie holds up. I didn't even really enjoy
Yeah.
it that much when I was younger, but I want to see how I feel about it now. Would love to see Teen Beach Movie because I am obsessed with that song from TikTok. I need to see this movie. I want the whole. I read the whole Wikipedia article about it, but I want to see it.
I don't know. It's gonna take us a while to get there, huh?
I know it's gonna take us.
This came out
but I am ready. I am committed. Which would I like to live in the most? Any world that has a Zac Efron world is a happy world for me.
That's a good answer. I think the DCOM I'm most excited to revisit. I always really like The Luck of the Irish. Luck of the Irish is always a good one. I was always excited to watch that one. Or the 13th Year. One that I'm excited to watch but I've never seen. Radio Rebel, which is where Debbie Ryan makes that face. I just want to know what's up. I just want to know why she made that face. I just want to know. I need answers. And then if I had to live in a DCOM, I honestly would probably live in Xenon World. I mean, it's all Xenon World, but if I had to pick a specific movie, I'd probably pick the second one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Another Halloween Town would be cool.
When it's
Spooky
safe,
time.
not when it's too spooky.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I guess I'll just give a little summary of Your Lucky Dog and what it was. I, again, did not know that this movie existed, but for those of you who are in the same boat, You Lucky Dog was the second movie that was released in the Disney Channel original movie roster and was released in 1998. So it stars Kirk Cameron. Some of you may know as Candace Cameron from Full House's brother, James Avery, who is Uncle Phil in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Chelsea Noble, who actually I found out is Kirk Cameron's real life wife. So yeah, this movie is basically about a dog therapist called Jack Morgan who develops a psychic connection with a millionaire, Clyde Windsor's doggo, Lucky. But alas, that is not the weirdest thing to happen in this movie. Shortly after meeting, Jack finds himself wrapped up in this Knives Out style family dilemma where he not only has to balance, channeling this dog, but also being appointed trustee of Lucky's now $64 million trust fund. So a lot of shenanigans. There's just a lot of things that happen in this movie that it was a trip watching it.
I had also never heard of this movie. I remember we were talking about this beforehand, like we should probably look for a trailer, and then you said there's no trailers, and I'm like, Disney Plus has its own channel or its own trailer, and then we click on it, and it was literally just like, here's a minute scene from the movie. So I'm like, I don't know what this movie is about besides Kirk Cameron pretending to be a dog. And boy, oh boy, did it not disappoint in that regard.
Oh, it delivered. It delivered.
It delivered. I don't know if it delivered in the best way, but I don't remember it at all growing up. I mean, I probably did watch it, but it's not like the other movies. Like, what's the one with Katherine Heigl where she switches places with her sister?
Oh my god.
When You Wish Upon a Star, something like that, where the sisters, it's like a Freaky Friday thing, which is older and not even a Disney Channel original movie. But I remember that more than I remember this.
Yeah, well, it's actually interesting. So I think it was in Disney Channel, but before, Under Wraps in '97, they were called Disney Premiere Films. And that's where you had that movie and a bunch of sequels to The Parent Trap, which I also did not know existed. I don't know. I also want to preface by saying that I have pretty low standards for movies. So my analysis is not going to be that insightful. I don't know. I thought it was ridiculous, but I enjoyed myself. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed the dog puns. I enjoy a good pun.
So basically, this movie, more than just being Kirk Cameron crawling around like a dog, apparently he actually like wore knee pads and elbow pads for all of the scenes when he's crawling around. So that's one of the things I think was really good, is that like the overall like body work was really good. Kirk Cameron really did lean into it a lot in terms of what he was delivering. Super over the top, wasn't afraid of looking stupid, as like this is him like the whole movie.
When we did find out a little bit more about what it was, be about, and it's the whole thing of him being a dog, I did expect it to be cringy, but I expected it to be cringier than it ended up being, if that makes sense. And I think it was because Kirk Cameron just leaned into it and made it even more especially ridiculous, that you kind of a bit more funny than cringy, in my opinion. I think his acting helped.
Especially compared to everyone else in the movie. Well, I guess the bad guys are pretty good about being pretty over the top and silly. It was a very physical movie, like everyone's doing a lot. There's this part at the beginning when we first like see them meet Kirk Cameron's character. I don't even remember his name anymore. There's like this whole part, he like introduces himself. It gets kind of like intense, but like everyone's like super into it, or like jamming in, like even saying like stop it, I'll kill him. Which is also like another thing that I noticed about the movie. They don't mind how, for a movie that's like a Disney movie, I've never noticed, or I can't remember any other movie where they literally show someone dying.
Yeah, no, I thought that too. By the end of it, I was like, wow, they really were out here. Well, one, they showed that scene about with somebody dying, and then the gun, and then and then the plotting to kill. I was like, I don't know if I've seen any other Disney Channel movie go that hard.
This guy's straight dying, you know? Like they just show this guy just like keel over and die. Not once, but twice. Because then later on in the court scene, when Jack's like taken over by Lucky again, he's like, you're the one who killed him. And then they like show the scene again. They see the guy poisoning him, and then you see the guy die again. And then the guy pulls out a gun.
I think that was my favorite scene. Well, no, that's a lie. My favorite scene was the shopping montage. But since we're on that topic, though, of the guy being killed, how do you feel about that plot, the murder plot?
I don't know. I mean, I was like shocked, I guess, because it's a Disney movie. These are very more adult themes. Like there's like one child in this entire movie. Like it's a kids movie, and there's one child and one dog and a bunch of other adults doing God knows what.
I guess like when we reached the end and they brought up the murder plot again, in my mind, I was like, I feel like that plot point was unnecessary. Maybe that's just me though. I feel like they just touched on it twice and it felt almost forgotten. And that kind of bugged me.
Honestly, it feels like they did that with a lot of different plot points. Like they brought up a lot of things and then like never touched on it again. Like the fact that like the little girl like talks about how her mom's divorced and she misses her dad. They just like never talk about it. All that the lawyer says is like, yes, we come from a big family. I'm sure she misses having such a big family. And like that's it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Not really, I shouldn't really have high expectations. Well, again, just to go back, I really love the shopping montage. I think that was the best part of the movie.
Any particular part?
Yeah, when Lucky got on the Chinese food counter. Why did they let this dog in the mall at all?
Can you imagine if you were still working at Panda Express and like a dog got on the counter or a man started barking with a dog demanding their sweet and sour chicken?
I would kindly ask them to leave. I love that scene though. I think that was one of my favorites. That and like when they were in the furniture store, he was just buying a crap ton of couch. I was gonna say I just really liked his little playroom.
His little playroom's dope. Okay, so at the mall, why did no one do anything about this? Like, if this were now, can you imagine a dog of this size is like one just like in the store and not like a therapy dog, and barking as loud as this dog is barking, as often as this dog is barking, and getting on all the furniture, and people are just like, this dog needs to leave
because he's part of the 1%. he could get away with it.
Yeah, Lucky is the 1%. Like, they're at the store, and he's, like, pulling all this stuff. He's like, oh, we're gonna take this couch. And he's like, that couch is $5,000. And it's like, okay, you want this couch? And the dog's like, yeah, I want this couch.
It's like that scene from that Michael Jackson documentary where he's just, like, buying the whole damn store. When the movie first started, and one of the patients was like, how much did you pay to come here? And they were like, $50. And this is super stupid, but I was like, that's the most unrealistic part of this movie. No dog service would cost $50.
Did people care about their dogs that much in the 90s? I know people care about their dogs a lot now.
Yeah, I don't know. I also left a note in here that I 100% would give Kiko my money. So maybe.
No, I feel that. The previous owner obviously, like, loved his dog so much. And in the opening scenes of the movie, he's, like, in their nice 1%er limousine car. Look at this. This is like the object of his devotion. And he's like, ah, yes, a psychic. This is exactly what we need. And then he takes him, and then he's like, I can't help your dog.
That is a really good point. He was like, my dog is sick. Let me take him to a dog psychic and not an actual vet. With like my millions of dollars he could probably pay for the best. Let me just take him to this dude who claims he can talk to dogs. I want to know what led him to that. Oh wait, he was reading a newspaper, right? Life before the internet, but not to the extent we use it today for research.
Yeah, so that caught my... I felt really stupid. So when it's like the whole Home Alone scene and they like cut the power to the place, I'm like, why doesn't he just call the cops? But then Uncle Phil's character, he's like, why didn't you call the cops? And I'm like, yeah, why didn't he call the cops? And he's like, they cut the phone lines. And I'm like, oh, right. That's like the only way you could communicate then. People didn't have cell phones the way we do now.
Yeah, it's like when you think about movies now and you're like, wow, how easily things could have been fixed if they just had a cell phone. The other thing that I was thinking, the whole, transition between Windsor, the millionaire dude, dying, and then all of a sudden you're getting this house. First of all, that happened extremely fast and extremely easily. I mean, of course, it's just a Disney movie, but the way that happened was like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna move in. I would hate that. The allure of having a giant mansion, I get it, but I feel like I would personally hate that. I feel like I wouldn't know what to do with myself after a day. And also just being appointed a trustee of that much money would drive me insane. It just put me down a hole of thinking about what I would do if I was in that situation.
I would not want to move into that house purely because of how ugly it is. It's like the epitome of like late 90s, early 2000s, like a McMansion, disgusting. Ugh.
Wood paneling everywhere.
There's a scene when he's like taking a bath. Oh god, I hate that scene. He's like taking a bath, but it pans from like the bedroom to the tub. It's like one of these situations where like they decide that, yes, this carpeting in my bedroom is the perfect place to put my tub. It's like, I saw this picture and it was such a cursed image to me. I'm like, who wants a hot tub in their dining room and kitchen area? Like, this is disgusting. They're gonna have the food particles like everywhere, and it's like the same thing. Like, why do you want your like dirt particles landing like anywhere near in your bed?
I think with that scene that was funny to me was he was already acting like Lucky there, right? Or no? Or was that just him being goofy?
During the bathtub scene, he was just being weird.
Oh.
And it made no sense. He was just like, he throws the ball, it goes in, let's go get the ball. And then he just like dives in, and then he's like underwater for like a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how deep was that? That tub, he was gone for a while. Like enough for the ladies to come in and like stare and just like be there for a couple of minutes.
The best part about those ladies though is, did you notice that the British one had a familiar voice?
Okay. Her voice sounded familiar, but I didn't like look it up to know where she was from.
So this lady is Mama Cosmo from the Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah.
Really?
I was like, I know her voice. Yeah, she played Cosmo's mom.
Oh, no way.
Fun Disney
fact.
That's
cool. I didn't know that. I did find someone else, though, that voiced some pretty popular characters. So remember Jack's secretary at the beginning of the movie? Bernice or Beatrice, I forgot her name. She voiced Chucky in the Rugrats and Dexter in Dexter's Lab. I heard her voice and I was like, wait, I know you. That was cool. I thought that was a cool thing. Yeah. I looked it up. I was like, oh my god. I had no idea. What did you think of the villains? The nephews and the niece. I want to know why the niece was dressed like a Clue character the whole damn movie. I guess it makes sense with the context, but I just don't understand the outfit choices.
Okay, so one, this scene in particular was very much like, I haven't really seen too much of it, and I don't know if you have Schitt's Creek, but it's like a rich family, and they like lose all their money, and all that they have left is like they own this random like podunk town in Canada. Because they're the owners of the town, they can like stay at the hotel where the mayor works or owns or something. It's like this scene exactly. They're like judging everything disgusting about the room. Also, it was like super creepy when he like puts the quarter in the machine, and it like there's like that little shot of like him putting the quarter in and then like moving out, and the bed starts shaking, and you only see like the shaking. I know this is not sexual at all. This shouldn't be in a Disney movie either. I also recognized the guy in the yellow, the guy laying down. He was in that Mary-Kate and Ashley show, So Little Time.
Oh, I did. Okay, I didn't know that. I recognized him from Stuart Little. He was that little shop owner that showed him all the little
Oh, I
outfits.
love that scene.
For real though, like the moment that I think it was this scene too, when they started talking about Lucky having an accident, and that was when I knew I was ready to fight.
Gonna catch these hands.
Had to throw hands for Lucky. It didn't even hit me with the older guy dying. It was this scene that I was like, "What? You guys are talking about killing someone? And it's a dog? No!" And then when they were inside the house and they started shooting darts, I was like, "What are you doing?"
That scene is like
Oh my god.
10 minutes of them shooting each other with darts because they see a tall figure and they're like,
Yeah.
that's the dog.
That scene did feel really long, and I think I told you that I kind of spaced out in that scene, and I think it was because it was so long. I remember watching a little bit of it, and I'm like, all right, this is more of the same, I suppose. But yeah, no, it was so ridiculous. But before going into like the court scene or whatever, what scene made you the saddest? I think for me it was definitely when they showed Lucky being really sad because he missed his owner. Sad girl feels.
So they're like trying to feed Lucky. They show him this and they're like, here you go. What is this? Breakfast fit for king, and it's the driest food possible. But yeah, then they like pan up. He looks so sad.
Oh,
Yeah, so
yeah.
and then they like
Poor
make
Lucky.
the entire big room for him, and it's like this room that a child would like if the child were a dog. And then
Yeah.
they're like, "Wow, don't you love all this cool stuff we got you, Lucky?" And Lucky just like lays down and he's like, "I'm still sad." They're like, "Oh man, you're still sad? Just get
Yeah.
over it. It's been 2 weeks. You'll be okay."
Oh my god.
I couldn't. He's like, it takes. No, he didn't even say it takes time. He said something like, you gotta learn to let it go, and it's been 2 weeks.
What the hell? What the hell, Jack? You're supposed to be empathetic. You're supposed to understand what he's feeling.
Yeah,
Terrible dog
but
sidekick.
I think that was probably like the saddest part. It was this scene when he like finally figures out why he's so sad, and he's like, it wasn't your fault because like Lucky blames himself for making his owner go out on a walk when it's cold.
I also think another part that was sad that was kind of tied into the cheesy motivational speech was that when Lucky was saying, "Oh, you know, when you have a life as short as mine, like you gotta make the most of it." And I was like, "Please don't remind me that dogs have short lifespans." I don't want to think about that. Yeah, man, that court scene threw me in for a loop when he pulled out the gun. How did he get in there?
He's just like,
It was so
he's
ridiculous.
like,
I loved
you're the
it.
one who killed him, and he just like looks around and just like immediately pulls out his gun. It's like, dude, chill out.
Okay, another sad thing that it didn't hit me until after was that he shot the gun, and then everyone was like around Lucky, like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I didn't even think about the gun hitting Lucky, and but it was okay.
Yeah,
He was okay in
they're,
like 2 seconds.
They're like, it just grazed his ear. He's fine.
I like how anything that Jack experienced as Lucky was so reactive. Oh no, it only grazed your ear. 2 seconds later, wow, like wouldn't you have felt that immediately?
As far as court scenes go, there's no way he would pull out a gun. That's like the one that I just won't believe. I'll believe them believing that he's a dog psychic, but I won't believe that he got the gun in. There's just no way. Even in this pre 9/11 world, they would have been able to stop that.
Like, there's no way they would not have done a body check to get in there. Okay, actually, I did write down a question. If you were in the same situation as Jack and Lucky, what do you think you'd do? If you and Layla, for example, shared a mind, what would she have you do you think?
That dog is so dumb. She would literally just beg for pets all day and for food. That is all that dog does. What about Kiko?
I think Kiko would just give me the zoomies and then make me really tired. He would just had me run around in circles forever and then just sleep the rest of the day. It wouldn't be much of a difference, but that's Kiko's life, so I would give Kiko my money though.
I think the owner had that right in leaving all of his money to his dog instead of his family.
His family did not deserve a penny. I love the reaction. I forget their names already. The niece, when she tried to be all nice and go up to Jack and be like, "Oh, so what are you doing with the house there?" He's like, "Oh, I'm removing the marble floor and replacing it with AstroTurf."
Yeah, I love that scene because she's like, that is this kind of Italian marble flooring. And I remember thinking during that scene, do you think that the person who wrote this script actually knew about this marble flooring? Or do you think they just like searched for the first type of marble flooring that was expensive and they're like, good enough?
I think that's what happened. I don't think Disney Channel writers would have been like super savvy on marble flooring.
When he first realizes that Lucky is able to channel himself into his human body, he like asks him, what kind of dog are you? Like, what's your temperament? Are you calm? And Lucky's like, yeah, I'm chill. And up until this point, Lucky has been nothing but chill. And then immediately he's like, nothing but not chill ever. Like, this dog was vibing, and then he went to like, let me get into sicko mode, and just like nuts.
And he went from 0 to 100 real quick. I totally forgot about that. He lied. Well, speaking of lying, so this is just a pet peeve of mine with anything that has to do with like lawyer shows. But the villain put this whole thing out of like, oh, he's not mentally capable of caring for Lucky, and the lawyer lady was like, oh, you gotta tell me if something's wrong now. And he's like, nope, nothing, everything's chill. Why? Tell her. You could have avoided so many things there. I love the way that that they ended up proving it though. Please, what do you have in your pocket? Oh, okay. You know how you were talking about the candy, and you said that there was no way Lucky would be alive with that amount of candy in his house?
He'd die.
That scene where he was smelling the chocolate, and he's like, oh, my favorite. What do you mean? What do you mean the chocolate's your favorite? He would be dead, sir.
So yeah, once you told me that, I caught it too. And then I was like, yeah, that dog would die, especially if it was chocolate. They have like this entire room full of just candy. Okay, wait. So let's also backtrack to when they're showing the room. And so like the camera is Lucky and you're like going through this room and you can tell that they literally just did one little lap around this room and then decided to just like still frame it without like taking time to pause it. Cause for a second I was like, why is my video like skipping?
Yeah.
Oh, this is like a creative choice that they made. And now they're overdubbing these like random things like gumballs that make their own gravy. Which also, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean?
Wait, what? Gumballs that make their own gravy?
Yeah, and it makes like 0 sense. So when they're showing the candy part, like that's literally what he says. They're like gumballs that make their own gravy, and I'm like, what? So is this maybe it's candy for dogs then? Like maybe that's what they're trying to get at.
I want to Google this.
Like I think they do probably make some sort of candy that would safe for dogs. Probably not 20 years ago, though.
I didn't expect to find anything when I Googled that, but I don't know why I expected there to be a direct answer. I don't know, the 90s were interesting times, I guess. Glad you brought that up. I thought that was weird, too. I also thought that my screen froze. And then after I realized that it was happening 3 times, I was like, oh, this was on purpose.
Yeah.
Why? He looks so blurry.
So I think that's one of the issues that I have with this movie. For the most part, it's like pretty well done. Just strictly like mechanics of a movie. It's not bad. But then there's scenes like that where it's just like, there's like this other weird scene where, one, how do the villains like make enough money, get a car when they like are wearing the same clothes 5 days in a row? But then also, why would they have this scene? If you're a filmmaker, like there's a whole part where like this entire little middle part, like the air freshener is like completely blocking that guy's face. Like, why wouldn't you just, one, remove it? That's like the easiest fix possible, or just like redo it. Like, is that the best take that they could have had? But otherwise, I think besides like little like tiny things, the movie is like pretty well done. I mean, it's Disney. They're only going to be zanier moving forward.
Yeah, I think this is a good one to start with. A good thing to set the tone because I don't think we're gonna get any extremely well done ones. I mean, maybe that's a controversial statement. I'm trying to think of one that's gonna be really good, but
Excuse you, High School
um,
Musical exists.
yeah, that's why I then said never mind. Oh God, I can't wait till we get to those.
But yeah, the tone of this movie is pretty light, even with like the serious parts. It's never like
Hmm.
shown to be that serious at all, besides the fact that there's like deaths, literal deaths,
Yeah,
and attempted murder and a gun. It's a straight comedy. The only thing that really bothers me, we never know why he has this power, why it left him when he was a kid, why it came back with Lucky, and why it only worked with like what did this guy learn? Like he didn't learn
yeah,
nothing. Like he was ripping off people and then he wasn't, but he had money. But he got the money before he
right.
stopped ripping off people. There's no point to this movie. Like we have like a list here of like things that most DCOMs cover, like family issues, coming of age, loss of innocence. Like maybe this could be lost, and he need to get in touch with his innocence. But why? We
Yeah,
didn't even see that being set up at any point.
that's a really good point. I didn't think about that either. Like, they just kind of mentioned it at the beginning of like, oh, I can't do it anymore. Oh my God, like, and this all happens in the day too. But all of a sudden, Lucky comes in and, oh, cool, I'm fixed. I have my powers back. But they didn't explain why. Wow, okay. I hate that. Yeah, I think yeah. In terms of the tone, it was sappy in some parts for sure. I mean, it's a Disney Channel movie. It kind of is expected, right? But I got that especially during that whole Life is Short speech at the end. But overall, it's pretty feel good. In terms of like major topics that they went through, I think friendship was covered and how important that is. I know, I think it was implied at the end there was something going on with Jack and the lawyer lady. It wasn't like main relationship, I guess, of the movie, and the whole thing's pretty much surrounded friendship. You know, Lucky being friends with Jack, and then them kind of building this family. That was cute.
It was cute. I wish it was a little bit more earned. It was like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, here's this lady. Oh, she's got a kid. This kid just said that her dad got the house in the divorce,
Yep.
so there's no dad. Ooh, she's single. And then the next time he's like, oh, you got to represent me in court. Oh, now we're together.
Here's a puppy.
Right, yeah, here's a puppy. I don't know, I guess it was just a weird movie overall. From what Wikipedia says, Kirk Cameron, like someone gave the script to Kirk Cameron and he was the one who brought it to Disney. And it kind of makes sense, like this seems like the kind of fun movie he would want to do at the time. It also then makes sense why his wife is the lawyer. It sucks to know this is Kirk Cameron now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
He was so cute.
didn't know. Did you know much about him before, or did you watch anything he was in
I
before?
remember him like I watched some Growing Pains growing up, haha. But it wasn't one of my favorite sitcoms. I knew
Yeah.
that he was related to what's her name from Full House, and he's like a born again Christian. He has said some not so great things. Granted, it was 8
Well,
years ago, so maybe he's changed his mind. But because of that Ben Shapiro picture being only from last year,
oh,
maybe
that
not so much. Also, that also makes sense why his sister is in so many Hallmark movies. That makes way more sense now.
Hallmark Channel is the Canada's channel. Yeah, I think I only knew him, to be honest, for that reason too, for him being Candace Cameron's sister, and he was in like a couple of episodes of Full House, and then I was like, oh, cool, that's her brother, but that was it. I just knew he was like this. He was one of them '90s heartthrobs.
He actually in this movie, he reminded me a lot of the character from It's Always Sunny. So, and even like the way he speaks sometimes, especially the hair.
Oh,
That's Glenn Howerton. He's in It's Always Sunny. He's also in that show AP Bio, which is super cute. I was like, wow, this could have been Glenn Howerton, and then it would have been an unproblematic fave, which is so sad.
there were some moments in the beginning montage where they were kind of showing like photos of him and his
Previous
first
dog.
dog, the one he had connection with. But in the beginning, there were some shots that they hovered over, and he looked like Jackson Rathbone.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
I was like, I don't know if that's just me. I was like, that looks like Jasper. I found out something about the dog, Lucky, though. His name in real life is Bogus.
He was such a well-behaved dog. For like he
I
carried
know.
this movie.
The most unproblematic cast member. Oh, also Uncle
Yeah,
Phil.
we
He
did
was
not talk
nice.
about him very much at all. Mostly because like his character was like not a character. It was just like I'm judging you. I'm not judging you. I'm here for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I like the scene where he was like, well, if you can talk to him, ask him why he ate my Italian gloves. And Lucky was like, oh, it's because I like Italian food.
Mamma mia! What a smart dog. I mean, I think those are like my biggest things. It ended up being kind of what I expected it to be. For a Disney movie, it was fine.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't really expect anything out of it because didn't know much about it. But we did look up some reviews, at least have put some sort of expectation there, and it was met. It was met. It was ridiculous.
Talk about chewing up the scenery. Go ahead, Cameron. Let it out. The only movie I think this like really and like you when you pointed it out, it made me really think about it. The scene when they're like weeding the will is very, very Knives Outy. And like as soon as like, oh, I need a picture of Knives Out, I'm like, oh duh. Of course, like it's like that scene is exactly the same.
I feel like every time they do any sort of like will related movie and like the family involved, I feel like at this point we already know how it's gonna go. It's been done so many times, but the added bonus of it now being this dude that has to channel a dog, dumb, but it made it a little bit better.
All right, so we have decided to apply levels of rating. So level 1 would be how well it holds up from when we premiered. So like just effects. Is it really dated, or is it like still a story that can be told now? General storytelling is level 2. Was it even a good story? And then 3, what do we just like personally think about it? So for level 1, quality, I guess. What do you think?
I think it holds up pretty well because I mean on the effects side it didn't really have that many. Like I'm really glad they went the telekinesis route and didn't have Lucky's like mouth moving. I feel like that looked really weird. And then on the jokes, I think it also holds up today. I don't think there was anything that felt super dated. I think a lot of the jokes were puns, and I mean, you know me, I love a good pun. I think I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, you're right. It does really hold up in terms of like this movie could be repackaged today in the same exact way and be absolutely fine. I just can't stand that McMansion. I feel like that dates it so much. Also, the fact that there's like only one person who's not white in the entire movie, so maybe that would be a nice upgrade.
You're right.
In terms of just storytelling, honestly, I might have to give it a 2 just because I'm so mad that we never get an explanation about his powers, about what he wants in life. There's just like, besides what Lucky wants, which just to be happy, I guess. It's never really made clear. Like, obviously he wants some sort of justice for his owner's death, but like for the longest time he doesn't know that there should be justice served. Mm-hmm. So like that doesn't even feel very earned either. So I would say that just it's a 2. I just don't like anyone's motivation.
I think I would give it a 3, and it's gonna be super stupid, but I think the gun scene made it up for me because I just thought that was hilarious. A lot of things didn't make sense and they were not adding up, but the court scene somehow made it better for me, and I give it 3 protozoas.
And then just for general preference, I'll give it a 3. It was a not bad movie.
Yeah, I think I wrote down a 3 as well. It wasn't like outstanding, but I didn't hate it either. 3 protozoas.
3 protozoas. So what is that? 3.3 for you. Just a solid 3 for me. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't like, oh my god, blown away. It was no High School Musical, but it also was no Motocross.
Speaking of motocross and movies moving forward, next up is Brink. So in about 2 weeks, we will be looking into Brink. But yeah, give us a follow. We are Supernov-Amigas. I'm Isabel. You can follow me at iCorona23.
And you can follow me at Myra1Kenobi. You have to request it though, because I'm on private.
Thanks for watching, tuning in, listening, whatever, all the other things. Give us a follow, a like.
Thanks for watching us be awkward. If there was ever people that hated cameras more, there's no such thing. That's me and Isabel.
Yeah. Till next time, crew. Bye.
Bye.